It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
So I'm going to jump in. This is a question from Bob, and actually this question's been echoed a few times. So this is what Bob says. Question: what is the best way to get people I care about on board with getting out of debt, having a bigger picture mindset, and working towards becoming a millionaire? And then Chantel, she even added to that. She said, how do you keep the flame of those folks from dying out? How do you help them rekindle it once they've started and are beginning to go backwards?
Trying to work on my Barry White voice there. When you start talking, filling the flame, making things work. But
I had no idea where he was going with that.
It is one of those things. The first easy, low-lying fruit answer is that I want you, if you want to get your family excited about talking about money, the easiest answer out there is talk about the Money Guy Show like you would CrossFit or Teslas with them as much and as frequently as possible so that some of this will catch on and catch fire. What do you think of that answer?
I think it's great. It's interesting you threw out CrossFit. I feel attacked right there, but I appreciate that you threw out Tesla.
I self-deprecate with Tesla too. But it is, I want you to get so energized thinking about, I think you do have to be careful. Anybody who has teenagers knows one of the worst things you can do if you want to persuade or move people in a certain direction is all of a sudden start telling people what they should do. Because teenagers and humans, and adults, by the way, they're humans too, but they're no different than teenagers. That when you felt like somebody is clubbing you over the head of what you should do, you have a tendency to go in the opposite direction. So I would actually create an environment of letting them know, hey, you take finances seriously. Mm-hmm. You're paying attention, you're educating yourself, and that has created a level of wisdom that when people, they will notice that and they'll come to you and you share the resources. Seriously, start telling them some books. Maybe even give some books away at Christmas.
I think one of the things that you did really, really interesting, Brian, is you had a group of friends back when you first started managing money. And after you read The Wealthy Barber by David Chilton, you decided you were going to go buy that book for all of your buddies. And you actually gave it to them. A lot of them read it, and it actually spurred them to go open their very first Roth IRAs, right? Like that is actually, that's some a real world thing that happened. That was how you were able to influence maybe guys who might not have been otherwise had the affinity to go make financial decisions, start making financial decisions.
What's interesting is that now, and I'll get to the second part of this, how do you keep the flame alive? But I just got back from spring training down in Florida with my high school buddies, and it's been years since we've all gotten together. And one of them, while we were in between innings, did lean over and goes, hey, you know that those IRA accounts we set up when we were like in our 20s? He goes, those things have done really well. One of them is over 6 figures now. And I was like, yeah, this whole thing works. It really is. So I feel like I planted seeds with some of my younger, well, I was young too, but my friends, because I told them, I always had the statement of, hey, I don't want to retire and be alone. I'm going to go ahead and plant seeds now so your trees will be just as big as my trees and we can do this together. But when you want to keep the flame alive, that's one of the things I do. I will tell you that there's an excitement to this, but it can kind of start fading if you're not creating behaviors that will keep you on track. Do the annual net worth statement so that way you have reinforcement of what is working, what's not working, but also getting the affirmation of successful behavior habits. Also, make sure you're having those, what I call them, travel date nights or financial date nights where you're going over what your goals for the year are with your significant other or spouse, where you are discussing the net worth, but also travel plans and goals. All those things are going to help keep this thing front and center, but also let you work on the business of your finances and not just get lost in the messy middle of life.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I'm able to do when I talk to young folks is you do have to somehow make it relatable, somehow make it exciting. We talk about this whole 88 times over concept. Whenever I talk to someone who's in their 20s, I talk to them about 88 times over and just showing them how a little bit can do so much for them later on. Well, then as you age and you get into your 30s and 40s, then I start talking about the money multiplier.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, go to the moneyguy.com website, click on resources, go check out our wealth multiplier deliverable, because then you show somebody who has been saving through their 20s and now maybe they've got $10, $20, $50, $100,000 saved up, and you show them what that can turn into by the time that they get to retirement. It gets really exciting and it starts to feel very, very tangible when they can see the fruits of their labor. So continue to drive that conversation home, I think, is one of the ways that I'm able to connect with younger folks.
Great question, though. You actually combined 2 questions there. I like that.
Well, I'll do what I can.